All right, so there's several different ways that we can actually run Python. And I'm going to walk through just a few of the common ones. So one obviously is just straight from our command line or our terminal. So whether you are on a Mac or on a Windows machine, it's going to operate pretty much the same. If you have your terminal open and you just type Python, what happens is it goes from a normal command line prompt to a Python prompt. So you are now within a Python environment. And we can notice that by the default prompts right here, which we see these three greater than signs, right? That is the standard Python prompt that says, all right, we're ready to execute code. And we could actually go ahead and we can write basically line by line within the command line. So I could do print hello world, and that will execute. I could go ahead and save some data. Let's make a list here. You don't know necessarily what a list is, and that's fine. We're going to learn about these in a little bit. I just create a list of numbers. I save that to a variable called data, and now I can actually evaluate data, and it prints out that list. So that's one way. Now, when we want to exit out of the Python environment, we can just do exit, and that'll take us back to our normal command line. Now, depending on your computer setup, there may be a time where when you write just Python like this, the version that you see come out at the top here, right, you may see version 2 point something, right? And Python 2 is long outdated and no longer a standard that we want to use. However, some computers will default to OpenPython 2 instead of Python 3. If that happens on your side, or in your case, what you can do is use the prompt Python 3, and then that will open your Python environment. Now, you'll notice when we just use the normal default Python interpreter here, we don't get any kind of syntax highlighting or anything. It's very basic and very simple. So actually, lots of people end up not necessarily using this to write our Python code. An alternative is to use what's called an IPython interpreter, right? So if we just write IPython, this will again open up a Python environment that we can write code, but there are some slight changes. So you can see we have this in and this number 1. So this is going to be our first input into our program. So again, let's go ahead and do print hello. And now you can see already when I start typing, there's a change. We have automatic code completion, right? So if I do, let me go ahead and just fully type this in, and we see now we have our input in certain syntax and our output looks a little bit different, right? So this provides a little bit of a benefit to make more clarity into what are we typing for code and what's our output. And again, we can do data equals some list of numbers, and we can go ahead and have our output. So now when we have an output that is a data object output, you can see we have this out and then the number 4 saying it is linked to this 4th input command that I just typed, right? So this is the IPython console that we can use, and lots of people do use this when they want to have a quick environment for doing some writing some Python code. There's still some limitations here, and that is it's not the most it's not the best for an interactive environment. So lots of times for an interactive environment, people want to use a full-on what we call IDE. So it might be VS Code or some other type of IDE. The one that we'll be looking at is called Jupyter Lab. And so we can launch Jupyter Lab and work within Jupyter Lab a couple different ways. We can, one, go ahead and, since we're using Anaconda, you could find your Anaconda Navigator and open that up. And we can see that our Navigator opens, and we now have the option to choose several different types of applications to run code in. And you can see this is not all Python. We do have like RStudio in here, but there's PyCharm, which is a common IDE. You could use Spider, which is another one. But what we're going to be using in this class is JupyterLab, as we saw in the last module. And so one thing to kind of point out, there's two different options here. We have JupyterLab and we have Jupyter Notebook. Now this Jupyter Notebook is being deprecated in place of JupyterLab. So we're going to write in notebooks, but what we want to do is launch JupyterLab in order to go ahead and do that. So you could just hit launch and that should launch your JupyterLab. Another option, which is one that I use probably most commonly, is from the command line. So I just want to go ahead and launch JupyterLab, and I can do that here. And it'll take a second. And now what we see is a Jupyter environment that is created. Now, when you first launch yours, it probably looks like this, where you kind of have a menu. You have a menu of, do you want to start with the notebook? Do you want to start with the console? Or you can even see we could work in a terminal or in any other kind of file that we want here. Right, so similar to what we were working on with just an IPython kernel before, we could have this same setup here, but in a little bit of a different type of a console. So you see right now we're writing IPython, which is what we just did in the terminal, but we have a code chunk down here where we can now write and execute code. So I can go ahead and I could do print hello world and execute that. I could go ahead and create a list of numbers and I could execute that and I could evaluate that. And again, we see this numbering for inputs and then numbering for outputs as well. Very similar to what we saw in the terminal, right? So this is another way that we could execute code. Now, lots of times when we're doing data analysis, we want an environment that's very flexible in interactive type of analysis and being able to do visualizations. And the most flexible way to do that is with a notebook. We can go ahead and launch a notebook, and now we have our notebook open like we saw in the last reading. And now we could go ahead and within here, I could execute my hello world. And I could create my list of numbers and I could evaluate that, right? I could even go ahead and do multiple lines of code within one block. So I can create my data, and then I want to see the output, and I can execute that, and I get this.